All right, so welcome to this little tutorial on how to find the volume of an object and the mass of an object. You're going to need these skills for a lot of different labs. We're going to start with volume of just a regular sized object, something that's kind of cube shaped like this little fun sized piece of Three Musketeers. So to find the volume in science class, we use the metric side of the ruler, which is each of these numbers represents 1 centimeter. And in 1 centimeter, there are 10 millimeters. So I'm going to start by measuring the following things. I need to find the length, the width, and the height. And eventually I'm going to multiply all three of those to get the volume of my object. And you can see I label these things right away, and you should always make sure that you do your labeling so that way you don't forget. So we know what those numbers stand for. So I'm going to do length and width, and then I'll do the height. So I'm going to be as exact as I possibly can when I'm measuring. So here I'm at about 2 centimeters. Yep, 2 centimeters. I've got this at the 0 mark, 2 centimeters, so I'm going to do that. And sometimes length and width can be interchangeable. And then this side, go to the edge. So it's definitely not a square shape. Just double check. Okay. So 2.3 or 4. You want to get as close as you can. 2.3 centimeters. And if it's in between two marks, then I would do it as like 2.35 if it was in between two of these millimeter marks. And then the height is 1.5. All right, so now I want to find the volume. So to find the volume, I'm going to multiply length times width times height. So got my calculator. 2 times 2.3 times 1.5. And that gives me 6.9. My label for this, since I'm multiplying three things, that means it's going to be centimeters cubed for these three measurements. And that gives me the volume of this regularly shaped object. If I had a number that went to the hundredths place or the thousandths place, usually if we can round to the hundredths place, that's good. You can even use the thousandths, but this is fine as well. Now we're going to move on to mass. So for mass, this is an electronic balance. The parts of this, I'm going to remove the covers first, so you don't want any covers on there. Some balances look a little bit different than this, but I'm going to take you through. They all basically have a lot of the same buttons that would do the same thing, maybe just labeled differently. And the goal is to find the mass of the object, so how much matter is inside of this. So this is to turn it on. On my particular balances, this M button is the units button. So a lot of pan balances will say units, and the units just changes what it's measuring in. So there's ounces. This is another ounce weight. Carats is actually a jewelry balance. And then I want it at grams. So in science class, I'm always going to use grams. So I need it at this G, just a G. There's another one on this one that has GN, and I don't want it at that. So I'm at G. So you can see it goes to the hundredth place. And then this button we can ignore, we don't need this one. This is the tare button, and this zeroes out the balance. Now what I would need this for is if I put some sort of beaker or container or maybe like this paper towel on here, but I don't want the mass of this paper towel because anything I put on there, it's going to give me the mass of that object, and I don't want that. I just want to find the mass of this, but I don't want to put it on the pan. So this is the pan. So let's put this down first. Paper towel, and you can see it gives me a mass right here of this is very sensitive, 2.40, and I want to put it back to 0. So if you've ever been to the doctor's office, a lot of times they'll tell you to wait to get on the scale until it is at 0. It's the same thing here. So I'm going to put it at 0 by pressing the tare button. Now I can put this down, and there it is. The mass is 8. Whoop, bump that again. 8.02. Oh, see, it's adjusting. So this is kind of a sensitive scale. Grams. And I'd use my label of G for grams. Once I'm done, I want to turn off the balance, remove my object. If there's anything on the pan, I should clean that off. And if there are any covers, I should return the covers to where it belongs. And that's how you use these basic measurement tools for finding volume and mass.